If you're watching this, I want you to understand you're doing self-care all wrong. Let me explain. If you're a woman who has done your best to schedule the massages, book the manicures and pedicures, and at some point you beat yourself up because you're either not getting it in, because the reality is it's yet another to-do on our list. You beat yourself up because you're spending a lot of money. You're trying your best to put your oxygen mask on before serving others. This episode is gonna be a game changer for you. Self-care needs a rebrand, and that's exactly why I wrote this book, The Connection Code, and it's out now. I'm so excited. I wrote this for the woman who feels like she has lost herself or just simply needs a reminder that everything she's searching for is already inside of her. Inside this book, you're gonna find simple, science-backed tools to help you reset in real life moments, like in the carpool line or between back-to-back meetings, or maybe when you catch yourself unfortunately snapping at the people you love most. I designed the cover and made it playful on purpose because so many of us have lost this aspect of ourselves, and we need that invitation and reminder to bring back joy every single day. Pre-order your copy today, and you'll also get access to some amazing freebies to help you start regulating your nervous system and reconnecting with yourself right away. Ladies, we have been sold a sandwich. The self-care that is handed to us on a gold plate doesn't work. And just as we typically do, instead of blaming the system, we blame ourselves. In the reality of everything that we're juggling, we're somehow told by so many people, enjoy every moment, it goes too fast. Great. How am I supposed to do that? I'm running on empty and I'm exhausted. Be sure to take care of yourself so you can continue to show up for others. Great. When and where am I supposed to access that? I don't have time. We're doing self-care all wrong. I want you to switch the term self-care to connection. And in this episode, I'm gonna explain exactly how. So before I get into that, I just wanna zoom out and again, help you understand why you're not alone in feeling like what you're doing for self-care isn't working. One, it costs time. I want to say it costs money, and that's number two, and that's really important. But even before that, it costs time. And I think time is our most precious commodity. In the list of our never-ending to-do items, we've now got to try to fit one more thing in that either pulls us away from the work that we need to be doing, pulls us away from our loved ones, or we don't ever get to it, and then again, we blame ourselves. It's not working. Most importantly, number three is that when we actually get to these appointments, I don't know about you, but are you actually able to enjoy them or relax? Sometimes I am, but so often for me, if I get to that pedicure, the reality is what I used to be doing was just using that time to catch up on my to-do items. So I would think of this pedicure, I would get all excited, I'd schedule it because it's my self-care, and then when I actually got to sit on the chair, I was just running, checking off the list instead of actually enjoying it. Like the image we have of self-care proclaims that we'll feel in these moments. And so part of that is because we haven't actually trained our nervous system how to access calm. We haven't trained it how to take advantage of these moments where we have nothing to do or create these moments of nothingness to do. And so we've got to flex that muscle. We've got to train that muscle. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how in these 3 steps to completely changing your self-care to make it work for you. So in today's episode, I'm going to share the 3 keys on how to help you change self-care to connection and make it actually work for you, resulting in a life that feels more in control and like you fit in the rest and balance that we all crave when we reach for the old model of self-care that we now know doesn't work. Just a heads up, these are a complete reframe. And I want you to stop for a moment and ask yourself if the tools you're currently using are working. And if so, great, continue with them. But what I realized about 5 years ago when I hit burnout from doing all the right things, getting in my workouts, scheduling the massage, all the traditional self-care, and it wasn't working, I created these systems for myself and it has been the biggest change in my life. And it's been the easiest tools I've implemented. So if what you're doing isn't working, I encourage you, just try one. If you want, pick one of these that resonates with you most, incorporate it, and then I would love to hear either in the comments or through messages or email. These are the things we are exploring and using. These are the tools that we're incorporating. These are the muscles that we're flexing in my private community. I'm gonna link to that as well below so that if you're someone who's like curious and wants to try, but you do better in groups, this is a great community for you. So you could check it out in that link in the description. Okay, key number 1, amplify your intuition. All right, so let's create like a daily scenario. Let's walk through one of those moments in your life, I know you've had them, where the hits the fan, where you're running late and you hit traffic. Or if you have kids, this happened to me the other day, you're running late, you go to find one of your children who's not at the door getting ready to walk out, you're running late, like every second counts. I went in my daughter's room and she was having like an emotional moment. One of those moments where I knew I couldn't be like, come on, let's go, let's get in the car. A moment where I needed to get myself into like that Zen state that we all see when we imagine getting a massage. Those moments. The moment where you're running late, you're at the checkout counter to get that one thing on your quick break and the person in front of you is like taking forever. Those moments. This key number one is about amplifying your intuition. This is amplifying your connection with yourself, because what happens in these moments, the ones I just described that are such a reality in all of our lives, is that no massage is going to help you. You are not in a place where you can just say, pause life, let me go do some self-care and then I'll come right back. These are the moments where we need to have access to a tool. We need to have access to a guide. You think about if you walk in a bookstore and like, you know, when I was in the throes of early parenting and you're overwhelmed and you go into the bookstore and you're like, I need someone to help me. And you look on the shelf and there's like 1,000 books on parenting. How do you pick one? How do you know? Or if you're in a different season of your life and maybe you have a different struggle or challenge and you're like, let me listen to a podcast and figure it out. Which one do you choose? There's like a bazillion of them out there. I have one, right? I love podcasts. I'm all about it. But in these moments, the only person that can help you is you. And so flexing the muscle of amplifying your intuition, of amplifying your voice and your clarity is so incredibly powerful because you have access to it when you need someone the most. The truth is you are your greatest guide, your greatest guru, and you have all the advice that you need. You've just got to learn how to get it again. As women, our intuition is what has led and guided us for thousands of years. And what I'm seeing happen now is the pendulum has swung so far one way in our lives where we are living in unprecedented times. We are taking on, I think, more than women in our past ever have. We're juggling so many things that are unrealistic and expecting ourselves to show up in like this beautiful conscious present state. We are doing things that our moms perhaps didn't know to do. They did the same, right? They did better than the moms that came before them. But I think this is the time where we women need to stand up and say, not anymore, and change it for our daughters. This is the time where we need to get back connected with that deep wisdom that lies within all of us. Because again, that is what we have access to in those moments. And so I want to walk you through how to do it, because this is really incredibly powerful. But if you don't know how, and if you're not surrounded by a community of women doing the same, I think this can just be like any other piece of like well-intended advice for women and just not really move the needle or not actually work. So one of the most important things in getting connected with your intuition and your voice again is to spend time with yourself. There's a few barriers and pieces of resistance or challenges that come up as I'm walking women through this in my community. And the reason I want to walk you through this is because what this translates into is in those moments when you're running out the door, or when you feel like you don't have a second to yourself, or when you're like, I don't know what to do, I just need someone, you can stop, pause, put your hand on your heart, and ask yourself questions like, how do I get through this? What do I need in this moment? In that moment with Kaya, where I was running late, we were trying to get out the door, like I was full on beta, like I was to-do mode, like get stuff done, and she needed me to be calm and present in my body. Thank God I had trained my ability to drop into Alpha, a brainwave, which we'll talk about in key step number 2. But this is what this gives you, the ability to stop, pause, put your hand on your heart and ask, how do I make this fill in the blank more easy, more fun, more doable? Who can I ask for help? This is how we access that inner wisdom and guide. So you spend time with yourself. Saying that can be really scary. So like I said, women in my community that presented some resistance or challenge to this said things like, I don't know what to do if I'm by myself. Like, give me an action step. So what I've inserted for them is an anchor tool. I love anchor tools. Anchor tools, it's a phrase I came up with that like gives you something to do in that moment. This is like a book is a really good anchor tool. It gets you to spend time in the quiet. And I think a book is, I say it's the gateway to connection with yourself, because it starts to train our nervous system that calm and quiet and like doing nothing is safe, so that we don't pull ourselves out with distraction or work. Part of our brain, our amygdala, does that to create a feeling of safety. That's a whole other podcast, but it's literally neurology that's doing that. And so every time you go to sit with yourself or to do nothing and your body or your brain are like, this feels really weird, this feels uncomfortable, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, let me just get up and like do the laundry or check an email or whatever. That's not just you, like that is your nervous system working against you. It's trained for survival. It's just misreading the environment. And so we're literally training it by incorporating these anchor tools that start to seed our nervous system and start to teach our nervous system that like sitting on the couch for a couple minutes during the day is not gonna end the world. Like it's telling our nervous system these moments are safe so that we can access those lower brain waves, those calm states that give us access to our voice, clarity, and intuition. So the book is an anchor tool. The morning sit spot, which you guys have probably heard me talk about. If not, I'll link an episode below. Creating what I call a morning sit spot is huge for this. This is the place where you go in the morning to start to listen and connect to your voice again. This is where you go to fill your cup before you take care of everyone else. This is where you go to hear your own voice before the world gets loud. So creating a sit spot is like, you know, if you're going to start a workout routine and you want to start working out in the mornings and maybe hit the gym at 6 a.m., you're going to set yourself up for success by putting your gym clothes out the night before so that you don't have to think about it in the morning, right? You can't talk yourself out of it. So a sit spot does the same thing for training your nervous system to access calm and for getting reconnected and listening to your inner voice again. It's where you go when you just get out of your bed and you're half asleep and you're in this beautiful subconscious state and you connect. The sit spot is also a great way to access theta and alpha brainwaves. So key number 2 is creating connection by leaning in to brainwaves. So as I've discussed on a previous episode, which I'll link below, brainwaves are these incredible states that we're in throughout our day. And by maximizing and using certain brain waves, we can actually create connection and calm in our nervous system without just running our to-do list and burning ourselves out. So as women, I want to keep this really simple because I've got a full episode on it. You can link that below on the brain waves. But essentially, as women, we tend to spend most of the day in our beta brain waves. These are like our production brainwave. This is our brainwave we're in when we get stuff done. This brainwave will essentially like shut off our inner voice and just get us kind of in that zone of checking off the list. But when we can intentionally spend even like 2 minutes, 5 minutes in these other brainwaves that I teach you all about in this episode below, it completely changes the way that we show up. We get everything done, but we do it in a way that's calm, connected, peak state. It's actually how we access a flow state. And what this looks like is throughout your day, you have the ability, because you've trained it, to ask yourself questions like, what do I need in this moment? What is it that I desire? How can I make this more fun? How can I get this all done but actually enjoy myself while I'm doing it? So I highly encourage you, if this has piqued your curiosity at all, to check out that episode. This is an incredible tool that you can access at any time for free. It's essentially like cycle syncing, but instead of a weekly flow based on your hormonal cycle, this is a daily flow. And this is a daily opportunity at any point throughout the day to completely change how your day feels and flows by leaning into the rhythm of your brain. Lastly, the third key in switching self-care to connection and actually getting the results that you desire, like more joy, more freedom, more fun, more peace, more calm, is community. This is huge because we're not meant as women to do this alone. And so, you know, for a long time, I didn't have community. And what I found was the first step in building community and finding your people is to first find the community within yourself. And self-care, switch to connection, is so powerful because this is what helps us do this. We can't find like-minded people if we don't even know who we truly are. We can't find our tribe if we don't know what we want or need. When we show up in social circles asking questions like, what do these people need from me? What do I need to bring to the table in this situation? What parts of me do I need to hide? There is no way you're gonna create authentic connections. And so one of the main reasons that I've created my private membership and community is to help you reconnect with yourself. You know, ideally, our connections and our community are in person. They're in real life. But the reason I created this virtual community is to help you find yours within yourself. Because once you do that, your people, your community are gonna find you without even trying. You become so energetically magnetic and people feel that and resonate with it, and you will never have to search for quality, expansive friendships again. You have created it in yourself first, and they'll find you. So I would love for you to check out that community. I will link it below, and you can always send or ask me any questions. All right, so now you've got your 3 keys, tools, and steps so that you can change the old bull version of self-care into what truly works in our lives as women to connection. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. If you know a woman in your life that could benefit from this, hit that share button and send it her way, and I'll see you next time.